Hello, my sweet friends. This is Tracy. I am sharing my red truck Christmas card box. Now, these trucks were offered at the Dollar Tree in the past. Maybe some of your Dollar Trees still have them this year. I'm not quite sure, but guys, I have you covered. If they do not have them, I will have a pattern available for you that you can print out on your printer, and then you can cut it out and trace it out on wood or foam board, cardboard, something like that, if you would like to create one of these cute little Merry Mail trucks. Now, I am going to show you here in the video how I created this Christmas card box using two of the red trucks from Dollar Tree. But you can actually do this with different trucks. This is just an idea. Be imaginative, use what you have, and create something awesome. I did use this in 2019 for my Christmas card box. Guys, it worked perfectly. And with the Halloween season coming up, I'm sure Dollar Tree is going to have some of these treat boxes. So pick that up and make yourself a Christmas card box if you like to put your cards in boxes, or you can put an arrangement in it. You can put candy canes in it. I made some homespun candy canes, a few videos back. There's so many options, but these trucks are so popular and you can paint them any color. They're not just red anymore. There are all kind of colors popping up all over the internet. So let your imagination go. All right, guys, let's get into today's tutorial. Okay, for my trucks, I put a layer of white paint over them so that when I painted them red, it wouldn't take as many coats. The red that I'm using is this crimson red chalk paint, and this is by Waverly. I get it over at Walmart. And by putting that layer of white paint underneath there and then the red paint on top, I only had to use one layer of the red chalk paint. Now, I choose chalk paint because it gives a really nice finish and it dries quickly. So that's why I like to use chalk paint on these kind of projects. To give my project some dimension, I am going to do some shading, and I use a number 12 flat paintbrush. My paintbrushes are linked in the description box below. If you just click the See More little link, it will expand the description box and you can see the paintbrushes that I like to use. Anyway, I dip half of my brush in paint, the other half in water. I blend it on a paper towel, and then I go around my projects to give some definition. So now I will just continue to bring my little red truck to life. I painted the bottom of the outer truck with some granite gray paint, and where the little license plate goes. And then on the larger truck, I just paint a back glass, just kind of freehanding that with a layer of that granite gray paint. And then I will just finish up by adding some shading, and then I will enhance my my tires so they look, a little bit more realistic. I'm going to add some rusting look to the trucks. Now, don't pay any mind to that ho 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 sign, because at first I painted that. I was going to add that to the back of my truck, but then it didn't look right, and so I had to rethink it, and that's when I came up with the Merry Mail sign, and I like it a lot better. So I will just be using that ho 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 sign in another project. And what I'm doing to add the rust to my truck is I have some brown paint, and I have a stencil brush, and I just go through and using the brown paint, and I also use some orange paint, and I am just, you know, giving it some enhancement of the like a rust. And so then now I have some silver paint. I think I got that at Hobby Lobby, and then I'm going to give it some my glass, like some reflection, so it kind of looks a little bit more realistic. Just adding that, and then also a little bit later or sometime during this video, I remember that I need to add some rear view mirrors, so I will also use that silver paint to paint the sides of the little truck, like where the pumpkins were for those harvest trucks. Man, I just love the way that this is all turning out. Now I will use my fan brush and just add some white highlights back to the back of the truck, as well as the, you know, larger truck. Just adding some highlights to it. Now I just will add some splattering to my projects. I do the black first, and then I do the white on top. I do have a video. I will link to it where I show a little bit more in depth about splattering my projects. Then I take my black Sharpie marker, go over all of the project just to add just a little bit of, you know, more definition. And it's just something I like to do. I like to use the Sharpie brand fine marker as well as the ultra fine marker. So I just go around and just kind of enhance the projects. It kind of helps with, you know, any like little flaws or something, because my projects, I promise, are not perfect. They are not. By the grace of God, He has allowed me to share all of this with y'all, really. And so I'm giving you all my little tips. Anyway, so I am just going to give each side of this truck a coat of this clear varnish. I like to use the Delta brand varnish. It is just a personal preference. You know, I get questions about varnishes, about if you can use a spray varnish. Absolutely whatever works for you. I'm just showing you what I like to do for my project. So then now I'm going to make my Merry Mail sign, and I have just one of those wood planks from Walmart, and I painted it with the crimson color of red. And then now I'm going to shade it, and using the same technique, half of my brush in paint, half of my brush in water, blend it on a paper towel, and I just shade around this little sign. So then using a flat paintbrush, I am just hand lettering here, Merry Mail. And it's taken me many years to be able to paint like this with a paintbrush. And so I just want to encourage all of you that are trying to do this. Please continue to try. Practice, practice, practice. By the grace of God, He has allowed me to be able to learn and teach me these skills. It takes a lot of patience, and I know that you can do it too. The good thing that if you mess up or you feel you've messed up, you can just paint over it. Or I'm going to show you here just a little trick where I feel that I got on the mail little letters, I got my M a little too close to my A, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to fix that, so that will give you a little tip for your little painted projects. So I just have some crimson red paint here, and I just have a thin liner brush, and just taking some paint, I just paint in between those letters so it kind of looks like, you know, they're separated a little bit more. Then a baby wipe is a crafter's best friend, and I use them all of the time in my craft room. And if I, you know, mess up a little bit, I can just use a little baby wipe to kind of help me out. So just going around the letters, and if there's any little letter that's a little out of whack, I just take my paint and my liner brush and I just kind of clean it up just a little bit. And so then now I'm just going to add some dots by using the end of a paintbrush. And sometimes when I, you know, do my little happy dots with the little paintbrush, it kind of splatters a little bit. And, you know, I'm okay with it, but if you're not, just be careful with that. But it kind of gave me an idea to, you know, add some little polka dots to this sign. And so sometimes, you know, that may be viewed as a painting error or a little mistake, actually turns out into a happy little unique accident. So anyway, so I'm just going to finish up here by putting the happy dots on my letters, and then I'll go back and I will use a stylus to add some little white dots to give the sign a polka dotted look. I'm just going to use the edge of my fan brush to kind of give it some, I don't know, just enhancements. I just, you know, I fly by the seat of my pants. I really don't plan stuff out. I just kind of like the look of it, and I'm like, oh, that looks good, so let's give it a little bit more. Anyway, if you're looking for perfect projects, you're not going to find it here on my channel. I say that, you know, respectfully, but I am not a perfect painter. I'm not a perfect crafter. I just like to share my tips and tricks of things that I have found works over the years. Just like this, I'm adding just a little bit of highlight to my letters. They are so unperfect. It is just sad. Anyway, just using a liner brush, I just add a bit of shading, and you know, I clean up my letters by, you know, just adding some more paint, and, you know, just kind of going through and just adding different colors just really kind of makes the whole difference. To glue my box to my truck, just using some Aleene's tacky glue as well as some hot glue, and I just line it up at the bottom and just kind of you know, position it down at the bottom. And I love the way that this is turning out. I think this little truck is just going to turn out so cute, and I'm going to look forward to using it for years to come. Even though we don't get snow here in my part of Texas, I wanted my little red truck to have some snow. So this is another one of my little tips. I use all-purpose caulk and a little stick, and I just kind of put it on, just hitting the high areas, you know, like where snow would fall, and let that dry completely. So then now I'm going to decorate the truck, and I thought about adding some little mini lights, but that didn't work out. I'm adding I have some of those greenery ties from the Dollar Tree, and some pip berries also from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut off a little bit of that. And I didn't want to put a whole lot of decorations on here because it's going to be functional. It is my Christmas card box, so just putting some little enhancements as far as the little pip berries, and just kind of putting it around the edges and hot gluing that on the back just works great for me. finishing up putting the embellishments on here, and I love the way that these little trucks are turning out. I'm so happy that I picked up several of these with the forethought that, you know what, I'm going to want to use those in other seasons and to create different things. I did the harvest truck. I also did a Halloween one with the Boo Crew, and then now doing this Christmas card box. I just love the way it turned out. Now I do have a tutorial that I uploaded already to my channel that I show you step by step of how I created the bow. And it's kind of, you know, like if you are a beginner bow maker, I slow it down and really try to explain it. So I will link to that here.